look like twins right now, bro.
Oh yeah, dude, we do. We got the black, the two hats. Everyone, that's
Yeah.
Nick Zano with me, who is Chad McNight in Obliterated, which is out now on Netflix. We're gonna talk spoilers, so make sure you watch the show first before we jump into this. Nick, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. What's happening? You watch the
Uh,
show?
yeah, I loved it. I binged it this weekend, and I'm telling everyone to watch it and how just awesome it is and really funny too. And what really blew my mind in just preparing for this interview was I saw your IMDb bio says you long dream of becoming a Navy SEAL. Was this the way you had imagined it coming to be?
First of all, when I was a child, I saw Charlie Sheen's Navy SEALs.
Ooh.
That one. And it was on HBO. I could have swore I was going to be a Navy SEAL when I was a child. Like, that was the only thing I was like, that's all I want to be. That's all I want to be. And here's an interesting true story. I went to look. I've never told this story before. Into enlisting into the military, I went to a recruiter's office. I went home. I didn't pick up the phone. My mother picked up the phone, and the recruiter starts talking to my mother about me coming in. And my mother said, "Leave my son alone. He's not going anywhere," and hung up on the recruiter. And I came home and she was like, "What are you doing? Thinking you're joining the military?" And I was like, "Mom," I was like, "you're embarrassing me in front of the US military."
That's amazing.
And then yeah, and then through a course of, the journey of life and everything that happens, decades later, you're like, I actually get to do it. I get to
Yeah.
play pretended, but I get to be advised by the real deal, like Kevin Kent, our military advisor, certified badass. Got to spend time with him and have him teach me some tricks of the trade and some lingo and small talk and physical movements. Yeah, wild, right, man? You're the first one to
Yeah.
catch that.
No, and I think you do a great job as a Navy SEAL. I was completely sold, and it's also interesting. That's not the only cool thing that's part about Chad's character. What I love too is this like love triangle he's in, but I feel like he's not aware of part of that. Do you sense that he sensed at some point Maya's obsession with him? Can you kind of clear that up?
I feel McKnight exists in this space where, like, to him, it's like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna have that. Like, I like this. I'm gonna have this. And if he's focused on what he likes, he may be oblivious to emotionally the other things. Anything else in life, like anybody walking, people emotionally, he could miss a lot of shit. But alert wise, in the game wise, I don't think he's missing much on the tactical end, but possibly on the emotional end.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair answer, and I think that's what makes him endearing in the end. And I have to talk about that scene in episode 5 when Chad
Yeah,
saves
bro.
Trunk. That was one of the most difficult things for me to watch ever. Was that
Yeah.
as hard to be a part of a scene as it is for us, the audience, watching that?
Um, it was a very extremely close set that day. Not a little bit close set, but like a very heavily guarded close set.
Right.
And I had to walk in. And at this point, Terrence and I are very good friends, and I care about Terrence, and who plays Trunk. I walk into set, it's dead quiet. Terrence is tied up, and this is a spoiler.
Yeah, spoilers.
Everyone
All
seen.
spoilers you can go. Yeah.
Terrence is tied up, his pants are on his ankles, and the thing is inside of him.
Oh
And I
God.
walk in and see it, and it created an effect from my belly button to my throat. It's just this feeling of like, fuck, like what? And then I look at Terrence, and he's like, I know, and I'm like, oh, buddy. And then we're setting up camera, and it's right there. It's right there, and I'm standing there, and I look at Terrence, and I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, it's just one of those moments when you're doing stuff like this. You're like, what is this life?
Right.
What is life? What are we doing? Like, how did this happen? Where did I go right? And where did I go wrong? Like how did we end up here? And it's just, you do that in like a head nod and a shoulder shrug. And Terrence put the prosthetic in my hand.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa! He's like, you got to do it. You're doing it in the scene. We got to just break the ice with it. And I'm like, okay, breaking the ice, breaking the ice. And I'm like, all right. And I slapped him on both shoulders. I'm like, ice is broken. Got it. And
Wow.
then we did it. And it's something, man. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't forget that.
No, that's a scene that just stays in your brain forever. And it was intense. So yeah, I mean, when you guys are talking up the show too, how intense it was gonna be, and you were saying online, like, be careful with this. Like, I, you didn't undersell it. So that was what was nuts about it. And if obliterate,
Honestly, wait,
yeah,
there's just one thing. Like, people, you hear that and you think like I'm trying to like make you think something's a certain way. This is actually that way,
yeah,
as you saw. It, like, I mean what I say to you. Do not watch this with your family. I mean when I say to you, don't watch this with your mom. Like, I mean it. Like,
yeah.
once you see it, you're gonna be like, oh, thank God I watched this not at work.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And thing I'm just wondering too, if the show gets a season 2, could we see more of Chad's backstory explored? Because he does mention that his dad had left him at a young age. Do you see that as a
Mhm.
possibility?
I would love that. One of my favorite scenes is with Victoria Madsen, 3, or I believe, uh, um, where we're at McNight's at home with his mom. That was a sweet, interesting piece, and I want the guy to be from Florida. He's a Florida guy. In the scene, I wore a very famous Florida only thing that you will get, and it's a muck bowl shirt. And that muck bowl shirt is like straight up for Florida people only. And they get it. And I would love to explore McNight at home in Florida, like, more than anything. I would love to. It would make my heart so happy.
Yeah, that's
Also,
the
there's
yeah.
there's a parallel um like, I've never met my father. I've
Mm,
only been raised by like the women in my family. My mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my aunts, uh, and my dad's alive and well. I've
right,
never met him. I don't know him. So when that was in the script, that changes the dynamic between mother and son.
mm,
So when it was time for McKnight and his mom to be together, I know that difference between a mother and a son and no father versus
right,
a mother, father, son. Because then there's just like it's a different thing. But that scene is just a taste of, it's just the two of them. It's just
right.
the two of them versus the world, and that's what anchors that, and like some heaviness for me and the character as well.
Yeah, and that's why I would just kill for season 2 and to see that story more explored. That's really powerful stuff. That's awesome to hear that. And I also have to ask you, when the opportunity comes for you to play Brad Pitt in the biopic of his life, will you answer the call?
First of all, I wish, I wish. Second, my face has become a Rorschach test to some people. like, and it happens in front of me where like, no, it's this, no, it's that, but it's me as a person. And I witness. I'm the man. I don't see it because it's me. I don't see
Right.
anything because it's me. Um, I wish it was the way you said it was. But I will say, I have one story where I was on a flight. Um, I was on a flight to Paris, and I was with a few friends, and we were sitting down, and the stewardess and the captain were talking while we were sitting down, and we were kind of minding our own business. And as the flight was coming to an end, the stewardess came over and handed me the flight manifesto, the printout, and my name was X'd out, and she had B Pitt on it. And I looked at her and I go, no. And then she goes, "It's okay," like that, and then walked away. And I was like, "No." And I looked at my friends, and everyone was like, "We saw that." And I have a
Wow.
picture of the manifesto. It was like it was so crazy and far fetched. I was like, I took a picture of it and like circulated amongst the friends on that night. But I don't see it. I wish it to be true. Please, Lord Almighty, let it be true.
No, I love it. And this is probably the closest I'll get to ever interviewing Brad Pitt. So thank you for that.
Oh, buddy.
Everybody, watch Nick kill it in Obliterated over and over. Tell your friends about it. Keep watching again. Let's get the word out and get people watching. It's so funny and so much fun in general. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining me today. I hope to talk to you in the future.
Bye, man. Thank you. Wonderful questions.